Hey, it's Benjamin here coming at you with another fragrance review today. Y'all know that I review fragrances, colognes, perfumes, all those great smelly things. Let's talk about Comme des Garcons Man 2. Yes, this is the Man 2 version. Don't get it confused with the regular Comme des Garcons 2. I know it gets confusing, but this is the Man version, and it's the second one. So definitely make sure you're looking at the right thing with this one. Anyways, let's jump into this fragrance. Let's see what it's all about. Y'all know how we do it: the smell, the performance, the compliment factor, the price. My final thoughts before we jump into it. Y'all know what to do down there below. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this video, and even tell a friend about this content. And when you hit the notification bell, hit all notifications so you never miss out on my regular content. So let's talk about this fragrance. Let's see what we're getting into. First off, this fragrance has notes of things like saffron, vetiver, mahogany, iris. Yes, it has some florals hidden up in here. And it's a really interesting fragrance. They're claiming there's some kumquat. I don't believe that there's much of any kumquat in this. I don't detect any sweetness or any fruitiness. This is mostly a woody fragrance, and a woody fragrance lover's delight. If you love woody fragrances, this is one of the better woody fragrances out there on the market. One of the better ones I've ever tried. I think Comme des Garçons is considered a designer brand. I'm not sure on your opinion. I don't look at things versus niche versus designer. I really look at things versus mass appealing versus, just kind of avant-garde or different, appealing to less people. This is somewhere in between, and the price kind of reflects that. We'll talk about that at the end. But it's a really nice fragrance for woody fragrance lovers. Now, what do I get out of this fragrance? I have a lot sprayed on my arm. I have the dry down, and I have the opening. And I might just spray it again for y'all. Spray some on my arm here. My goodness. Yeah, let's get that opening. In the opening, it's not very harmonious to me. This is one of those fragrance. It takes a couple seconds on the skin to really start to develop. In the opening, it does smell maybe slightly sharp and like a woody syntheticness for a couple seconds. Of course, that's with the alcohol. You're going to expect something like that. This isn't high level niche, but it is a nice fragrance. And then it becomes this nice, playful, not fruitiness, but almost this woodiness that has a little bit more brightness to it. Again, it never comes off fruity to me, but you can tell the iris is playing very nice with this fragrance. I really do like how the iris uplifts the composition, gives it a little bit of character, and plays very nicely with the mahogany. If you're not familiar with the smell of mahogany, of course it's a different kind of wood, and there's plenty of different woods in the world that all have their unique smell. If you've never smelled different kinds of woods, it's very easy to get your hands on some pine, some oak, maybe some redwood, and you could definitely start trying things out. Everything from mahogany to cherry. There's lots of different wood smells out there. Mahogany, to me, always has this nice, refined, calm, smooth nature to it. Almost like lavender and leather mixed together. It's a very nice wood smell. It smells very classy. A little bit more soothing and maybe a little bit more of a mature wood smell. But just in general, I always feel like people think that woody fragrances are a little bit on the mature side, a little bit more maybe on the masculine side of things. I can see that. This fragrance doesn't have a pencil shaving vibe to me at all. It smells classy and smooth. I wouldn't say this fragrance has any booziness or really any tobacco, but it almost has a little bit of that, almost that dry tobacco, kind of a little bit of that sharpness and that play with the smell. That's probably from the iris playing, really, it's playing really nicely with the aspects of the mahogany, the brighter, sometimes more sharp aspect of the mahogany. So it's very interesting. This fragrance is a lot more dynamic than I thought it was going to be. It's quite a nice woody fragrance. I do have to say it is a joy to smell, but it is more masculine for certain. If you, this is a kind of fragrance that's going to have you smelling more like a lumberjack. It's going to have you smelling like you chopped some wood or you were out in the forest. It definitely is more on the classic masculine, manly side of things. And we'll talk about that a little bit on the compliment factor side. Let's jump into the performance. Guys and gals, ladies and gents, this fragrance to my nose and on my skin is about a 6-hour fragrance. maybe 7 hours. Became quite soft, kind of quickly. And it doesn't project a lot exactly. The sillage is all right, but this fragrance is not a big projecting fragrance on my skin. This fragrance actually is quite on the subtle side of things, but it is a distinct smell. People do pick up on the smell a little bit more than you probably would think. So it actually is quite nice in that regard. It's distinctive when people smell it. It is a very nice, gentlemanly, very well composed fragrance. I do have to say that some woody fragrances, the wood really isn't utilized as much as it could be, and sometimes if it's a wood dominated fragrance, it just smells too masculine, too overtly done, or the woods really aren't supported and blended. It's probably a lost art in fragrances to truly have a wood heavy fragrance or a wood focused fragrance, and really build that fragrance around woody, really heavy, more heavy, strong woody notes to the composition of the fragrance. So it's a nice fragrance though. Performance wise, it's all right for everyday situations, for when you're indoors, when you're in the office. I could imagine, this being a more everyday, maybe casual wear fragrance. I don't feel like this fragrance is overtly classy. It's not demanding. It's not overly seductive. I feel like a mature, fantastic gentleman, maybe 30 plus, maybe 40 plus, would love smelling like this. It's a nice fragrance. I quite like the smell. I think it's nice. We'll get into the value aspect a little bit later on, but it's a nice fragrance, no doubt about it. Now, with the compliment factor, y'all know that this, especially maybe it's just for the younger people, but I try to get their opinion a lot of the time. For the younger crowds, they're not going to think this is a mass appealing fragrance. This is not a seductive fragrance. This isn't a fragrance that is exactly a lady killer, or a fragrance that ladies would love on a man. Again, all fragrances are unisex. If you're a lady out there, you possibly could wear this. I think that this definitely screams masculine, and I think that ladies out there are definitely going to detect that this is more of a masculine fragrance, and maybe a little bit more of a reserved man kind of smell at that. It's not trying to be overly sensual or seductive. It's not trying to be playful. It's not trying to be young. It's not really even trying to be like just a reserve. Not I meant a just like a classic fragrance, like, I don't know, Acqua di Gio. This one, it is a confident fragrance, but it's more reserved. So I really like that about this fragrance. It made me feel kind of nice, and definitely made me feel well put together. It fits with my personality. I really like the smell, and I really like the vibe of it. But it certainly did not get me compliments whatsoever. I do have to be upfront about that. So if you're a guy looking for compliments, if that's something you really care about, this is probably a no-go. If you're a reserved gentleman who likes to keep to himself, maybe a little bit soft-spoken, maybe doesn't have to say a lot to get his voice across, to get his message across, this might be a nice one. Anyways, it's a nice fragrance. It's very respectable. It's well composed. One of the better composed woody fragrances I've ever smelled. One of the best woody fragrances maybe I've come across in a very long time. Overall, with my final thoughts, this fragrance is often $120 or so. $120 is kind of expensive. It's entry-level niche. I don't know if this fragrance is exactly worth that to a lot of people, but this fragrance does have the Comme des Garcons nature to it. It does have a certain vibe. It's like a little bit laid back, but the vibe of the fragrance is like a little bit provocative. So I do like the Comme des Garcons DNA. I like the vibe and the feel of the brand with their fragrances. So I enjoy that kind of vibe that they come off with the fragrance. Anyways, sometimes Comme des Garcons do liquidate inventory. One of those recently happened about a month ago on Fragrance by CA, and some of these were selling about $80 or maybe less. So they were really great value. If you ever do find one of these for $60 or $80 or so, I think that this is probably worth that. It's a good fragrance, for the money. I wouldn't pay a lot of money for these, honestly. These fragrances aren't often discounted. You often can't get a big discount on them at all. But I wouldn't seek these fragrances out for full retail. 120, 140 about. So I really wouldn't go for these. At least this one. You know, a lot of people like the Wonder Wood. That's a really nice fragrance as well. I like the Wonder Oud. Um, anyways, a nice, charming, masculine, woody fragrance. If this is something you've really been wanting, if you've been missing one of these, if this is something you've been seeking after and wanting, and that's your kind of vibe, that's your kind of deal, you might just want this baby. Anyways, that's my final thoughts I've put together with the price and the value. I think it's a very nice and well done woody fragrance. Again, I don't come across those every day, so definitely check this one out. And if you've never smelled a well done woody fragrance, you might just want to try it. Anyways, thank y'all so much for being here today. I love seeing you here. If you're looking I do have to say in final thoughts, if you're looking for something more sweet, more modern, and you don't mind not the best performance, you might want to try Pure Wood by Mugler. There are still a few bottles out there. They're getting hard to get. I wouldn't pay $60 or more for that, but that one's a little sweeter, a little bit more modern, and you might just like that a little bit more. But anyways, nice fragrance. Hope you liked my review today. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share the video, tell a friend, and definitely when you hit the notification bell, hit all notifications so you always get notified of my upcoming content and my upcoming videos. You never miss out. So thank y'all for being here today. I really do enjoy having you here. Hope you like my content. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you next time, my friends. Wear what you love, rock what you got. I'll see ya, and bye.